Right, today is a very important and very interesting day in terms of my running technique. The thing is, last Sunday was Valencia half marathon and I did not run it, so I took the opportunity to film it and I grabbed some pretty interesting slow motion footage of the elite runner. Then I studied this footage and found 6 elements of speed or cues that I actually want to try today. So I will take Kejelcha as an example, but I found that in fact most runners did apply the same technique or very similar technique. So I'm gonna run reps of 200 meters. Why? Because I don't want to kill myself too much. I already ran a pretty heavy session 2 days ago and I've got another one in a couple of days from now. So I will be running at around 5k effort. Yeah, a few 200-meter reps to try successively the different elements of speed I've spotted in the footage. And I hope 200 meters should be enough for the watch and the chest heart rate monitor to gather meaningful data, so I can see if it makes any difference. So I'm gonna apply these things like progressively, one after the other, adding up, and I'll start with 2 reps of 200 meters without applying anything, just as a reference, just as I would run normally, or at least how I would have run like 6 to 12 months ago. Okay, so let's go. Alright, so the first 2 elements of speed I want to try are the following. First one is, look at this guy. I'm collecting the leg behind his butt. The ankle goes to dorsiflexion pretty early, and when he collects the leg here, the outsole is like facing the sky. So it's not like that, it's like that. That's the first thing. And the second element is the way he drives his knee forward with the leg collected under the butt, pretty high forward. So like that. It's this movement. So he brings the knee pretty high forward, and then goes like that. Thinking about this movement here. Now the question is, I believe it is pretty much interrelated with the ankle anteflexion, because I find it somewhat easier to bring the leg forward with this close angle here, with the ankle antiflex like that, rather than in this position where you tend to, I don't know, with the inertia of the leg, it tends to just go and find the floor like that, and it doesn't really, it's more costly to bring the knee up. So I found this facing the sky of the outsole actually helps this movement. Now this movement of the hip is not so easy. In fact, I've been working on that in the last 6 weeks or so, and I found that I was not able to do that at the beginning. My hamstrings were cramping, and also I didn't have the mobility here, so I was like doing something like that. So you may need to work on that, but yeah, let's try that one. Okay, the third element is that obviously if you want to run fast, you need to increase your stride length and increase the flying time, and for that obviously there needs to be some bounce. So what these guys do is they bounce at least partly from the knee. So there is a bounce in the knee, so they kind of touch the ground with a flexed knee and reach this sort of position here with the knee flexed, and then sort of bounce forward. Now consider that it's also important to flex the knee to some extent, not too much. I mean, you don't want to sink, because then your cadence will be very low and you will lose all the elastic component of the tendon. But consider that you need to flex your knee in order to lower your center of mass, let's say your whole body. You need to lower your body so that the leg that's behind can actually extend behind. If you're too high, the leg is not able to extend very far behind. In order to extend the leg behind, you need to get lower, right? So not too much, but there needs to be some flexion of the knee. So let me try to add some bounce to this technique. Okay, I think that was slightly faster. Not sure, I'll look at the data later on when I get home. But it's actually not so easy to put in the right amount of bounce. Also, I believe the cadence is suffering from that, so you end up running at a slightly lower cadence. Okay, so the next two elements of speed that I spotted in what I could capture last Sunday from the elite runners are: number 4, that you should not be afraid to touch the ground slightly ahead of the body, like somewhere here, and not be afraid to touch the ground with the heel. They all do it to some extent, so that's okay, as long as you touch the ground with a flexed knee, so the weight of your body is not on the heel yet. So you flex, your knee is flexed, and as you move forward with the speed and inertia, here is where your body weight is on fully loaded on your foot, and it's indeed at the vertical of the foot, so the foot is right under the center of mass, perhaps just a tad behind, so that you sort of lean forward. But touching the ground here is not an issue. It would be an issue if you were to hit the ground with a straight leg, so no knee flexion, and then you hit the ground and all the force from the ground is transmitted to the ankle, the knee, to the hips, and it's actually breaking you, slowing you down, exerting a force backwards. So that's not good. That's typically overstriding. We don't want that, but that is good. So that's the 4th element of speed, and it actually means you can have a longer stride, because you can hit the ground here instead of trying to collect, because when you collect your leg here, it has a lot of inertia, so naturally your leg will sort of swing forward like this, and it is very hard to do this and actually stop this swing motion and hit the ground here, which is what the sprinters do, because they have very strong hamstrings. But for distance runners, it's okay to sort of hit the ground here. You don't have to try to hit here. So that's cue number 4. And number 5 is perhaps the most important one, is the fact that, yeah, they touch the ground on the heel, but at the same time they have a motion of the ankle from dorsiflexion to antiflexion with a very active foot. So they sort of seek the contact of the ground with their forefoot. They are not trying to have a forefoot strike, so they are not trying to hit the ground like that. That's actually not very efficient, but they try to have this ankle motion here, and very important, they actively push the ground with the ankle behind, actually as soon as possible. So they start pushing here and they push the ground very much with the ankle, so that contributes to the bounce. So it's not only the knee that provides the bounce, it's also actually mostly the ankle, and that also facilitates, or it is facilitated, it's related with the element number 1 that I mentioned before, which is showing the outsole to the sky. So you actually push like that, and then it becomes easier to face the outsole to the sky and then collect the leg and start again. So I'm gonna try to do that. Wish me luck. Okay, that was faster indeed, but it's very demanding on the Achilles, the calves, soleus. But it can be trained. It's not that difficult because you're not all the time. The mosquitoes. You're not all the time on your forefoot. Actually, your heel does touch the ground. It's just a matter of training this push, this anti-flexion thing. And it's not. I believe the way to train it is not really to do calf raises or to do isometric load of the tendon, but it's really to try to push into the ground, which, you know, basically you can do when walking, or I don't know, I have to investigate that a bit more, but I believe it can be done. So I'll be working on that in the coming weeks. Now, the sixth element, the mosquitoes are killing me. The sixth element of speed that I want to try before the night falls and it's too late is actually the push with the leg. So you want to extend your leg behind as far as it can get to, of course, extend your stride. As I mentioned before, in order to do that, you need to sort of lower your body in order to bring your leg further back, but of course not too much. You don't want to sink too much. Now, what you want to pay attention to when pushing with your leg and trying to extend your leg, because what I found is the difficult thing is to actually extend the leg to a straight position, because I tend to reach here but it's not straight. So to straighten the leg, you see, you actually gain like 15 centimeters, and what it takes to extend the leg, you will notice, is it comes from the glutes. You need to engage your glute. This is where your glute max comes into play. So the glute max is not really useful to do this kind of movement. It's not really engaged, and then you push more with the quad and so on. But here is really where the glute has to work. So okay, I'm gonna try to engage the glutes and extend the leg to a straight leg position, and let's see. All right, let me get out of here before the mosquitoes completely eat me up. And yeah, it's getting dark anyway. All right, so it's now 2 days later. I'm not feeling any soreness in my Achilles or calf muscles, so that's good. It didn't cause any damage to my body. So yeah, so I was able to run like 50 seconds per kilometer faster by applying these technique improvements. I was able to extend my stride length by 30 centimeters while maintaining the same cadence and more or less a similar effort. So that's quite amazing. Now, looking back at my own footage, it looks pretty promising indeed. The sensation as soon as I introduced the ankle push was really amazing. It was like flying and feeling light. So it was really awesome. On the other hand, bouncing from the knees is not easy, and also extending the leg behind in a straight position like that is not easy either. So yes, obviously my form is not as perfect as I do visualize it in my mind, and it's certainly not as clean and beautiful as Kjell's and the other elite runners. But that means there is room for improvement, definitely, which is great as such. Now, obviously, I'm never going to be able to maintain this pace for 21k like he does, among other things, because my maximum heart rate is probably like his zone 2 heart rate or so. So yeah. So I still got 5k of cooldown to get back home. Now, be careful if you want to try these things. Do a thorough warm-up before. I did a 5k warm-up before the reps, including some strides and also some mobility work. Also did some drills. So yeah, don't try that without a proper warm-up. Also, don't try that without proper strength and conditioning work, especially in your calves. Make sure your tendons are well conditioned and will support the load, Achilles tendon and patellar tendon. Also, the hamstrings can easily cramp in collecting the leg under your butt. In fact, if you just try to hold that position statically, you may start to feel some cramping in your hamstrings. And like I said, work on the hip mobility as well. But yeah, all in all, very good experiment today. But I mean, seeing a pace of 3 or 6 per kilometer in my data feels amazing. The best I had ever seen before was, I believe 3:15 per k about 3 years ago. So I was 3 years younger in a speed session where I did the last repetition completely all out. But then I was almost sprinting with a very high cadence, and my form was totally out of control. But this time it felt in control, and my cadence was normal. So yeah, that's great. Anyway, I just mentioned these 6 elements of speed, but there would be many more to analyze and to incorporate to the technique, like the arms swing and the torso movement, the body position, the cadence, and much more. So I hope you learned something from this video, or at least you found it interesting. If you did, then please subscribe to the channel and click the hype button. In fact, I'm preparing more videos on the running technique and how to generate speed, so watch out for that in the coming weeks. Next week I'll be traveling to Montenegro for a half marathon. I'm really looking forward to that, perhaps more from a touristic point of view, because it really looks super nice, but we'll see. And then in 5 weeks it will be the Valencia Marathon. But yeah, in the meantime, of course, if you run around, remember to look around. See you next week.